Hello, I'm Robert J. Morgan, the author of The Red Sea Rules. Several years ago, I was overseas, worried about a problem back home. When I got on the airplane to return home, my Bible reading for that day fell to Exodus chapter 14. As I read that particular chapter, which tells the story of the Israelites by the Red Sea and the way they were trapped there and the way the Lord delivered them, it's as though the Lord sat down beside me and began giving me tutoring through that chapter. He said, in effect, well, the way that I helped the Israelites is the way that I'm going to help you. And I wrote down 10 different principles from Exodus 14, and when I came back home, I put them into effect, and they worked, and I prepared a series of sermons based upon these 10 rules for my church in Nashville, the Donaldson Fellowship, and we call the sermon series, God Will Make a Way. And we based it on the little song that says, God will make a way when there seems to be no way. Well, Thomas Nelson Publishers asked me if we could put that material into print. And so in the year 2001, the Red Sea Rules was published. And in the years since then, over 200,000 copies of this little book have been distributed around the world. I've been amazed at the testimonies that have come back. This book is dedicated to my wife, Katrina. As I said, it was published in 2001. Not long afterwards, America was hit by Hurricane Katrina. This book was widely distributed in those devastated areas along the Gulf. People opened it up and it said, to Katrina. They thought it had been written because of the hurricane, but in fact it had been dedicated to my wife, but it was so appropriate to the people who were going through that suffering. There was a couple in Texas who had another kind of problem. Their son had been accused of a serious crime. He was innocent, but they had to go through the trial. They told me this book got us day by day through our experiences in the courtroom. There was a man in Arkansas who was walking by somebody's car and saw the book in the back seat. He asked to read it. And in reading it, his life was transformed as he found Jesus Christ as his Savior. A lady told us recently that she was carrying triplets and began suffering miscarriages and lost all 3 children. But this book helped her through that heartbreaking and devastating experience. I was giving a lecture on the Red Sea Rules at a college in Mississippi, and a young man came up to me and said, my family was kidnapped in Lebanon, and it was this book that got them through the ordeal, and they're safe now, but we thank God for the Red Sea Rules. Another couple came to me in Indiana at a speaking engagement and said, we have suffered a debilitating catastrophe, the loss of a child who died because we forgot him in the car on a hot day. And we have been charged with a crime. We've been reading this book. It's the only thing that has helped us to survive. We've gotten letters from so many people battling cancer and other debilitating illnesses. And also this little book we have discovered has gone in the backpacks of servicemen and women around the world, but particularly to Afghanistan and Iraq. The chaplains at Fort Campbell recently ordered 1,000 copies to send with the men and women who are going off into war. And so we're very grateful for the way the Red Sea Rules has been so widely used. In fact, it's become so popular that people want a way of buying it in bulk quantities at cheaper rates. And so we made an agreement with Thomas Nelson Publishers to offer it for people who want to buy it in case lots or greater quantities. And some people buy it and they just give it away to whoever they meet who is in need of some encouragement. Now we're developing a study guide for the Red Sea Rules. It's going to be called From Panic to Praise. And it will help you and your church or your individual group, your small group, to study through the 10 principles from Exodus chapter 14 and apply them to your lives in a personal way. Information about the book itself and the way that it's been used, the resources that we're developing in the study guide From Panic to Praise is all found on a dedicated website, redsearules.com. There are free downloads there and resources. There are special pricing, as I said. You can order it on the site. And there is so much more to come, including church resources for congregations who want to use this for church-wide studies and drives, retreats, and promotions. And so I hope that you'll visit redsearules.com as well as my own website, robertjmorgan.com, where other books and resources, newsletters, and information is available, as we remind you that God will make a way when there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me and for you too.